Hello, I'm Bill Stevenson, the news director for iFiber One News. We offered 60 candidates running for 30 elections in Grant County a chance to come visit with us and talk about the issues for their election. Not all the candidates responded to our requests, but today we're going to talk with a candidate for the position of director for the Ephrata School District, and that's Bill Correll. He's agreed to spend time with us today. His opponent, Jeff Mackey, did not respond. So today, we're going to take some time, and Bill, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to run for the Ephrata School District Director?
Well, I grew up in Ephrata. I went through the Ephrata Public Schools, came back to Ephrata after I graduated from college and was approached many years ago about a position that was open, and I got to thinking about it and thought I would be interested in doing that. And once I got involved with the Ephrata School District, I really enjoyed the opportunity to try to do what I could to improve the school district and keep it on the good standing that it has had and has continued to have, and I've enjoyed that.
Okay. Are you ready for our questions?
I'll try.
All right. The first one, here we go. So what made you decide to run for office?
Well, the educational conditions out there are really important to our children, and I've had an interest in that, as I mentioned earlier. My wife's an instructor at Big Bend Community College, and we've had a lot of interest in education. And I felt that it was something that I could contribute to. I want to see the school districts succeed. I want to see the kids succeed, and I want to see that we're providing the very best education for the kids in our community that we possibly can.
All right. If you're elected, what would be the most important thing for you to work on?
Well, if I'm reelected to the position, I would really like to see the financial situation continue in the condition it is now. It's been something that we've worked really hard to make sure that Ephrata is solvent, that Ephrata has the means to provide the best education of the kids that we possibly can, and to be fair with our staff, and have facilities that are adequate to the needs there as well. And I see some challenges ahead, particularly with some of the things coming down that have to do with classroom size that could impact, and hopefully I could contribute something to that.
So you said re-elected. Can you explain how your experience is going to help you in the next term if the voters keep you?
Well, I would hope that the 29 years I've been on the school district wouldn't be held against me. I would hope that it's something that I've had the experience on there to see some issues that tend to come up in districts periodically and have had some experience in how to deal with those. One of those is a long history working with the financial end of it and making sure that Ephrata was solvent. And I think that sometimes the experience is helpful to avoid issues that can sometimes make a district stumble. And I would hope I can contribute something in that regard.
So what kind of issues do you say? You said they stumble. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, sometimes, and I certainly wouldn't want to criticize any other districts, but I've been on this district school board long enough to be aware of sometimes issues happen that involve personnel or other issues or overspending. There's a variety of things that can happen that can get a district into trouble, and hopefully my experience would be useful in preventing that from happening.
All right. An important factor of government for the news service like iFiber One News is the openness of government with the people. How do you feel that can be achieved with the school board?
Well, one of the things that we encourage, and it's not taken up a great deal in the community, and I always wonder if that's because people are confident of the school board or they're apathetic. I would hope it's not that they're apathetic, but our district board meetings are always open to the public, and we encourage people to come and attend. And it's not only to see the business that's conducted by the school board, but it's also interesting to see the presentations made by staff and students, that oftentimes we're the only beneficiaries of getting to see that, and it's really there for the whole community.
All right. So what is your opinion about Common Core in the education system?
Well, I think that the concept in general is probably good. I think that there's some devils in the details, and I also think that there's so many issues in regards to whether it's Common Core or other things that have come down to us from Olympia or Washington, D.C., that have to do with testing, that sometimes we wonder if if we have enough time left in the day to teach the kids after we've got done with all the testing that's involved. I don't mean to say that that's all bad, but sometimes you feel like it's overdone. And we would hope that we can still educate these kids to the very best of their ability and our staff's ability. Sometimes these things that are made to be tools are useful as tools, the testing. Sometimes they're an issue that prevents you from being able to teach fully.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest priority for the school district in the upcoming next 2 or 3 years?
Well, the one that I've mentioned before, financials, concerns me, and I think that that's in part because with the classroom reduction initiative that went through a couple of years ago, the idea behind that's very good, to get down student counts with teachers, and I think that's a wonderful thing. The problem we have in Ephrata is that our facilities are fairly close to being full, and in order for us to, and if you're in the Ephrata School District, you're probably aware that we have a number of portables in the district, and I really dislike having to continually add portables, but it's a situation where we may have to add even more, because if we have to make classroom sizes even smaller, we don't have enough classrooms to accomplish that. And so it's that's going to be kind of a balancing act, and I hope I can contribute something to that process.
All right. Well, you mentioned facilities. What is your opinion of the current facilities for the Ephrata School District, and what would you like to see done to help improve them, and in what manner?
Well, periodically we review the facilities that we have. One thing we have are some excellent staff headed by Rock Whitty in regards to maintaining the equipment and the facilities we have. I can't commend these folks enough for the work that they do to maintain our facilities. It's amusing to me that the Ephrata High School that's in use now, that came into play in 1985, was completed in 1985, is still referred to as the new high school after 30 years. And that in large measure is due to the condition, the excellent condition that's been maintained there. And I think that that's something that is to be commended in the district, but I think that we are always looking at how we can better use the facilities we have. The problem is, as far as increasing the square footage, we don't have the funding available yet, and I'm concerned about the state, because with the additional funding that's going to be going into hiring more teachers, I think there's going to be a trade-off in the amount of money available for school construction, and that's a difficult issue. Once in a while, people have brought up the idea of perhaps middle school sports being brought back to Ephrata, and one of the big bottlenecks there is, aside from just the most obvious financial ones, is that the need that would probably be for a larger middle school gym. The problem with gyms is that those aren't a facility that the state's very anxious to construct. They're looking more for classroom square footage, and so it's a difficult thing to get the classroom square footage you want and then be able to increase some of the core facilities like gymnasiums that we'd like to be able to do at some point. But that's something we review periodically and try to see how we can best use the facilities we have and what state formulas for funding are available for us to potentially increase those.